Hello, hello, and a very good morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing very well today and you're ready to start your day with the wonderful Shazad Khan and me, Maha Maktoum. Bonjour, Shazad. How are you?
Bonjour. I'm absolutely perfect. And for everybody who's out there, we hope that you're perfect too as well. And ladies and gentlemen, the only reason why I didn't do the hellos is because of the fact that we've got too much content to cover. And Maha was like, okay, we're not doing it so that we can give as much time as possible to all of those amazing guests who are over here in the studios with us.
But now what you've done is by giving that explanation, have used that time that you would have said the hellos in. But on a serious note, we have a wonderful show lined up for you. And like Shazad said, we have a lot of guests and we want to make sure we get all the questions across so that you guys also know what we're discussing.
So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, on the 8th, 9th and 10th of this month, there was this first ever regional conference which took place, and the title of the conference was?
It was a consultative meeting on improving access to assistive technologies. And by assistive,
and obviously we'll talk about the assistive technology and what does actually come under the umbrella of assistive technology. But other than that, what is important to highlight is that representatives from 17 different countries make their way all the way to Pakistan, and then they had a fruitful conversation about how we can actually bring in or probably give access to all of those people living with disabilities to the assistive technology.
Exactly.
And now you can tell us about assistive
technology. So
technology.
the term is actually an umbrella term. It means assistive, adaptive, rehabilitative devices for people with disabilities. And like as in the World Health Day, the theme was universal health coverage, and assistive technologies is one crucial element of that as well. And it's about inclusivity. It's about making sure that communities, societies, the areas, physical environment is making sure that we're catering to everyone and not making sure that they're not excluded as a result of any physical disability.
Exactly. And then at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, on Wednesday we did a show on sustainable development goals as well, where there were artists who came in, and then there was an exhibition which was going on. So this is pretty much in line with the sustainable development goals, and we need to send out a message that we are not even lacking behind, because we're working hard and harder on to achieve all of those sustainable development goals.
And you'll be really surprised to hear how Pakistan is doing. They're doing a wonderful job in this area. So to find out where we stand, why Pakistan is also taking the lead in multiple areas of this, there are 6 domains that were covered within the conference. We will try and get through all of them. But now Shazad is going to do the honor and introduce to our wonderful
All right, so it is definitely a pleasure. But then at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, one more thing which I want to reiterate is that people who've actually joined us today are from different walks of life, and they're not just from different walks of life, they're from different origins of life too as well, and geographical conditions. But other than that, let me just do a brief introduction of who do we have over here in the studio. So ladies and gentlemen, on my right hand side, she's the Technical Advisor Disabilities and Injury Prevention, World Health Organization. She's none other than Dr. Maryam Malik. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm fine.
Thank you
for joining us. It's really a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you very much. Your locket's very nice. Thank you very much for joining us. Alongside Dr. Maryam Malik, we have been joined by somebody who's a Doctor of Health Sciences, World Health Organization temporary advisor, and he has got 25 years of experience in the assistive technology as well. He's none other than Dr. Tari Sund, Norway. He belongs to Norway as well. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you. I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you
very much for joining us. It's good to have you over here. And alongside Dr. Tariye, we have been joined by somebody who's the Director of Health Protection and Promotion, World Health Organization for 22 countries. She's none other than Dr. Maha Al-Adawi. Hello, how are you? Good morning.
I'm great, and I'm so happy to meet someone from Pakistan named Maha like myself. So
Thank you.
This is
Thank you
great.
very much, and I'm sitting right next to Maha.
Yeah, exactly. We've got 2 Mahas.
All right. And alongside Dr. Maha, we have been joined by somebody from Iraq who's Dr. Abdul Nasir K. Ibrahim. He's the Directorate of Medical Operation, Department of Medical Rehab, Iraq. Hello, how are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Wa alaikum assalam. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Last but not the least, a very pretty lady over here, ladies and gentlemen, in the studios. She looks stunning. She is beautiful. And the best part over here is that she's the first ever she's the first ever global champion assistive technology. She's none other than Dr. Sana Hafiz. Hello, how are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much
Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much everybody for joining us. And it makes me proud to actually have been hosted the first ever regional conference on assistive technologies in Pakistan, and you guys made it possible.
Yes, great. So now let's get the conversation started. The need and the aim behind this conference. Dr. Maryam.
So this conference is being organized by World Health Organization in collaboration with the Ministry of National Health Services, Regulations and Coordination. A regional resolution on improving access to assistive technology was adopted by all the member states of the region, Eastern Mediterranean region, in 2016. And one of the major objectives was to develop a regional strategic framework on improving access to assistive technology.
Wonderful.
So that was one of the reasons that this very important first ever regional inter-country meeting is being organized, and Pakistan is the host. Objective is one that I have just mentioned, to develop a strategic regional framework, and also to share country experiences, lesson learned and challenges, to orient the participants about this growing need of importance of assistive technology, especially in the development and the emergency context.
Wonderful.
Exactly, and then at the same time, I think that for all of those people who are using these assistive technologies are more of a fruitful member of the society too as well. And it's good that people are thinking in this line. But then at the same time, other than World Health Organization, what do you think is the role of Health and Ministry of Pakistan?
Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health, sorry. Yeah.
Ministry of National Health Services, Regulations and Coordination. Actually, they are having now a leadership role, and this role is now being recognized globally.
Right.
Starting from having the agenda of WHO Executive Board, the topic of assistive technology was included. It was the Executive Board meeting, 138th Executive Board meeting of WHO, where Ministry formally made a communication with the WHO Secretariat that this is an important topic and it should be included in the agenda. And then a side meeting was organized in the 69th World Health Assembly, where it was chaired by the Federal Minister of Health, and there's this assistive product list which WHO has launched, and a minister formally launched it globally during that event. Then Pakistan again requested to have a regional resolution, which I just mentioned. So on the request of Pakistan, this was again added to the agenda of the regional committee meeting. And then we had recently organized the regional committee in Pakistan. So that was a huge event, and it was actually a strong reflection of the collective commitment of the countries of the Eastern Mediterranean region. Again, a high-level side meeting was organized there, and Islamabad Declaration on Assistive Technology, it was adopted.
Wow.
So I think it was a huge step when we talk about improving access.
Absolutely.
Pakistan has also a great honor that the DG Health Pakistan, Dr. Asad Hafiz, he's also the chairman of WHO Executive Board.
Right.
So under his leadership in January 2018, the resolution on improving access to assistive technology, it has been adopted.
Great.
So Pakistan is actually leading at a global, regional and national level. And at national level, Pakistan has this flagship program of Prime Minister National Health Insurance Program. So the national access, it has been ensured by including assistive products into this National Health Insurance Scheme. And also, most important thing is that what provinces need. So provincial prioritization exercise has been undertaken according to the need, context and the resources.
Okay.
And the last thing is that the country is now planning to have a comprehensive national need-based assessment survey on assistive technology.
Wonderful.
So Pakistan role is recognized.
Commendable.
It's a huge role that they're playing.
It's a huge, amazing role which Ministry of National Health Services Regulation is leading.
Wonderful. And we will come back to Pakistan to get a clearer idea of its role and what is actually the situation here. But let's move on to Dr. Sun. Norway has played a huge role within implementing these kind of frameworks within Norway. And it's something that the world and Pakistan can learn. What do you feel is Norway's role regarding these regional talks on assisted technologies?
Norway is regarded to have a good system on assistive technology.
Yes.
And my role in this conference was to share our experience within this field to the participants of the meeting.
Right.
And we had very good discussions, group discussions, where many issues were discussed. and my job was to share our experiences from
Okay.
Norway.
And so what are those experiences, if you could share some for with our viewers as well?
Well, we established the present system in 1995,
Right.
so we have more than 20 years of experience with our model. And the typical thing about our model is that we established a National Assistive Technology Center, and we also established Assistive Technology Center in each county or region that cooperate very closely with the local authorities, the local healthcare services.
Right.
So the national center coordinate the activities of the county assistive technology centers, who again coordinate the activities together with the municipalities or the local authorities.
Okay,
Amazing.
wonderful.
And with that, I think I'll move on to Dr. Ma over here, and that is that, since you're looking after 22 countries, and Dr. Sun even mentioned that, we have to get down to the local authorities or to the grassroots level, how do you think, in the perspective of assistive technologies, all of these 22 countries are going to collaborate, and on what terms? Because it gets difficult when we have too many members on the board.
Well, as you said, we need the 22 countries to collaborate, but we also need each country, like Pakistan did, to have its own policy and to work on the issue and implement it really in a way that will reach to all people. You talked last week about Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goals, the motto is leave no one behind. And no one means no one. At any age or in any setting or with any physical disability or economic or anything. So leaving no one behind really means not only health. It means health and well-being. For us in the World Health Organization, we look for Sustainable Development Goal number 3. However, if you look at assistive technology, it cuts across all the 17 goals. Because if you improve access of people through means that, not through the private sector like we have, but like now it is in most countries, but if you take it through the public sector, through good public policies and building capacities of health personnel to be able to deliver at the primary care level where they can reach in the community and to the people with the least cost possible, then you are enhancing everybody's ability to reach assistive technology. And we have to think of assistive technology as anything that can be very simple, like eyeglasses. A person cannot see without them anymore, up to very sophisticated, like replacing a limb or this kind of functions, which are important to make sure that everybody is not only healthy, but also has enough wellness to be able to function and to do their daily activities and to earn their living and to get out of poverty and to ensure equity and all of this whole spectrum of the Sustainable Development Goals that you so rightly talked about, and Pakistan is doing very well in.
Wonderful.
Very nice.
And that's what it is. Assistive technologies are to ADL, active daily living as well,
Yes.
isn't it? So
Part
this is
of- yeah.
wonderful. I did do some reading on
And
it.
with that, I just want to move on to Dr. Ibrahim over
Oh,
here.
I did as well.
Okay, so then we both can do it.
Okay,
and we
we'll
can
probably
take
ask the same
turns.
question.
Okay, so let's see. So, Dr. Ibrahim, first of all, it gives me immense pleasure to know that somebody from Iraq, which is a post-conflict area as well, and a country, is actually thinking about it just right now when the conflict's over and you're actually rebuilding again. So now, first of all, how do you think are the conditions within Iraq, and how do you think all of these assistive technologies will help the people of Iraq itself?
Thank you.
Is it the same question?
You asked all of them.
Thank you. This is a good question. Actually, now Iraq, in post-conflict period, we are going to the period of rebuilding, inshallah.
Yes.
But still, there is a lot of people suffering from these conflicts, focusing on the disabled people, focusing on the older age. So these need a full rehabilitation programs. Within this rehabilitation program is assistive technology, and assistive device is a major role to be a fully rehabilitated and fully retained to his activity of daily living. So although the Minister of Health in Iraq will lead this issue, and there is a department, there is a lot of rehab centers, although we didn't have assistive technology center like in Norway, but we have a rehab center, we have prosthetic orthotic centers and rehab hospitals, all these share a responsibility to prepare and provide assistive devices. Actually, in Iraq, we are focusing on the mobility aids because a lot of physical disabled people will there, as you know, because of conflicts and military operations. So we are focusing on these issues, but inshallah, according to this important meeting here in Pakistan, there is a focusing on a list of assistive devices that should be implemented, used, and adopted by states and involved Iraq.
And we should have access to all those things too as
Well,
well.
we will discuss that as well. But now, moving on.
Dr. Sana.
Dr. Sana, you've been nominated as well. First of all, tell us about your story and how you got involved with this.
Okay, thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
It was 2 years back. I was a final year medical student when this accident happened, and I became a spinal cord injury survivor.
Okay.
Before my accident, being a medical student, I knew what spinal cord injury was and its complications.
Yeah.
But it was after my accident that I came to know the consequences the people, the family, individual, and the community had to face.
Okay.
After my injury, I started inquiring about other people who have the same condition.
Right.
And I came to know that I'm not alone. More than 1 billion people like me exist in this world who have to face the challenges in everyday life.
Yeah.
The biggest barrier which I faced in my life was the accessibility.
Right.
The places are not accessible. The parks, banks, offices, even my institutions, different institutions. I saw that the hospitals have ramps. So it made me feel like, are we only considered as patients and not as normal individuals?
Yeah,
The
good
parks should
point.
be accessible, the banks should be accessible,
Absolutely.
schools, cinema halls, stadium halls, shopping malls, everything should be accessible. This is the main issue that I faced. The second issue was awareness about spinal cord injury.
Right.
Not everybody knows about it. When they see a person in a wheelchair, they consider it like a stigma. And when I came out on my wheelchair, I had to face that as well.
Okay.
So about spinal cord injury, there is no knowledge, not even in health sector.
Okay.
People are facing secondary complications. More than million people die in 1 to 5 years from the date of onset of the spinal cord injury.
Wow.
But not because of the spinal cord injury itself, but because of the secondary complications.
Okay.
I would give one example, such as bed sores. The air mattresses are present. This is an assistive device, an air mattress. It can help avoid bed sores, but these are not available in our health sector.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
And then other than that, this is what makes me a little sad, Dr. Saiba, and that is that, you know, we over here in 2018 are talking about assistive technologies when we do not even have assistive infrastructure. What's the point?
If we start talking about the challenges, there are multiple challenges. Lack of governance, we do not have policies, legislations, national programs. Even the assistive products, they are being accessed without appropriate assessment or prescription, even user training, or there is no follow-up mechanism.
Yeah.
We don't have any national procurement systems. The scientific literature is very limited regarding cost effectiveness and impact of assistive technology. We do not have context appropriate design products.
Right.
The industry is very limited.
So these are the challenges. So then let's talk about development of strategic framework in terms of assisting the disabled or people living with disability.
So WHO has taken a very important step in this regard. There is a global cooperation on assistive technology which is called GATE initiative.
Very nice.
And its objective is to improve access to affordable, high-quality assistive products globally. And the first step towards operationalization of GATE initiative is to develop a national product list.
Okay.
First, we should know that what kind of assistive products should be there, you know, which can bring a change in the life of a person with disability. So an extensive exercise was undertaken, and 50 assistive products were identified.
Wow.
Great.
And those products which actually have an impact on well-being, on
Can you name a
independence
few
of
of
the
them?
life. Actually, they are divided into 6 domains. It is physical, and then vision, hearing, cognition, communication. So they are divided. And then the exercise was also like, to that which assistive device or which component should be given more importance.
Okay.
So there was extensive review of more than 10,000 research articles, and after that it was identified that these are the 50 products which are actually, they can bring a change in improving the quality of life of a person with disability. So that list is actually very important.
Okay.
It is not a restrictive list,
Okay.
but it will provide countries a model from which countries can develop their own list.
Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, we are saying that this is a priority assistive product list. We can add to it, but we cannot reduce to the number.
Absolutely.
So, so that is one model which WHO is giving with to the countries, and in Pakistan also, according to this list, as I've earlier mentioned, that provincial prioritization, that which like out of 50, maybe they would say, that right now we can start with 20 assistive products.
Okay.
So it is according to the provincial needs.
Okay.
So that is one thing as a first step, I would say, when we talk about that improving access to assistive technology, we have to give a model to countries to follow. And this list, it is now we consider it as a game changer,
Absolutely.
because now they have a framework in front of them, countries can develop. And this list was actually following the footstep of WHO Essential Model List.
Okay.
And Essential Model List is considered as a peaceful revolution because of its positive repercussions in the international public health. It can provoke public opinion, it mobilizes resources, it stimulates competition, and most important thing is that it supports the country to develop their own lists according to their national context.
And that's wonderful. Dr. Sun.
She was mentioning an important point, and that is that talking about assistive products, assistive technology, we should focus on solving users' practical problems within mobility, hearing, vision, cognition, communication, environment, the whole lot.
Yeah.
People tend to think only of mobility when
Yes.
we talk about assistive products.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay,
No, but I have
yeah,
to.
go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Sana. Sorry. Did you have something to add?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to say that disability is not only struck by accidents. Some are born with it.
Yes.
Some experience it in their early age, while others in their old age.
Yeah.
So we need to make an accessible environment for everybody,
Okay.
because it is called universal health coverage
Absolutely.
and health for all. So everybody should be included in
Okay,
it.
absolutely. And it is about everyone walking together. I'm sorry, everyone getting together. But just before, sorry, you would like to add something before?
Yeah,
So
mean,
I did
think
ask
it's
my question, but I'll ask
Go
you.
ahead,
I'll
go
ask
ahead,
you.
do it.
I think it's a very important point
asked
which
a
is
good
raised
question.
by
Yeah.
Sana, because the normal perception is like, that there are few devices. It is wheelchair, it is white cane, it is hearing aid, and only for disabilities which are very obvious disabilities, person who is sitting on a wheelchair, person who is using a white cane.
Yes.
But actually, if you look at the global statistics, aging population, in 2015 there were around 900 million. In 2050, it will increase to 2 billion.
Wow.
Non-communicable diseases, they are going to be like 80% global burden of disease by 2020. We have increased in road traffic injuries. We have increased in, like, the musculoskeletal disabilities are the second largest contributor to disability.
Okay. Interesting.
And World Disability Report, it says that there are around 1 billion people who live with a disability.
Okay.
So the general perception, that it can just only be because of the visible disability, but non-communicable diseases, aging, road traffic crashes, musculoskeletal conditions, everything is actually contributing to it.
Okay.
So this perception should be very clear, that it is the importance of assistive technology in the life of a person with disability. It is not just the visible disability, but these figures which I have quoted,
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely. Okay, so now moving forward, okay, and we did talk about this in the brief, and I was going to find a tactful way to ask this, but I don't know if I can.
It's all right.
I apologize now, Dr. Mariam.
Whisper
because
in my ear.
This is more towards you. No, I'm going to ask it. Now, this is all well and good. We're having the conversation. There's legislative work there. Pakistan is being a leader in assistive technologies, and they're trying to, change and make it more inclusive for the citizens of the country. But and this is something that's been talked about. Now, we had a census that was done recently. Now, within that, there is kind of discrepancies, or there is kind of not too much information about the number as well of people that we have who are living with some form of disability
or born with.
or born with it. And so how are we deciding to, how are we going to make these frameworks really good and be leaders when we don't know what the situation
How are we
actually
going to make
is?
these frame work?
Exactly.
Again, a very important question.
I know,
I
and
would
I'm
say,
sorry I
you
had to
know,
ask, but it needs to be
bec-
asked.
because the last census, rather the only available disability data, it is through the census of 1998. And according to that, it is 2.49. And we were really looking forward towards this census, you know, because of course, I mean, so many years have passed. But unfortunately, the questions or the information which we were expecting from this census, it did not happen because the question was not there, and then afterwards there were a question was added, but it was not enough to provide the adequate information and knowledge which we really need or which we were expecting to have from the census. So that is one thing, and then data is actually backbone for everything, you know.
Exactly. That's.
I mean, if the government is making any budget or any policies, they had a figure of 2.49 from the 1998 census, while WHO says that it is around 15% of a population which is suffering from some kind of disability. WHO did undertake a survey, we call it a model disability survey, which is according to the international standards, in Attock district. And the figure which was like, you know, from that, and the analysis was done in Ludwig University, Germany. It was 15.5%. So census of 1998 is saying 2.49. The survey which was undertaken in one district, it is 15.5, and another survey which was taken in Ziyarat, it is again around 16%.
Okay.
So which means, like, you know, that there is a huge gap between the available resources, the kind of questionnaire is being used, the kind of questions being asked. So this is, I would say, a gap which really needs a lot of government attention. But now there are some health-related surveys in which we have included the questions regarding
Wonderful.
disability,
Okay.
so that at least we are going to get some information regarding the.
I think that's
Good,
where Dr. Sun was actually correct, that we actually have to be in collaboration with the provincial and the grassroots levels too as well. But Dr. Mas to say something.
Yes.
No, I just want to add to this that especially in our region, the Eastern Mediterranean region, we have an issue with reporting disabilities.
Okay.
Of course, number one is we do need to have a good situation analysis, and we need to have the correct data in order to be able to respond.
Yeah.
However, we cannot ignore the global figures, and we cannot ignore the changes that are happening in our region.
Okay.
You have the emergencies and protracted emergencies, which are man-made.
Okay.
We also have natural disasters countries. We have earthquakes every now and then. We just heard in the news yesterday that there was an earthquake. Also in a school wall falls, or the people who are being injured constantly. Then with also the region with probably the highest road traffic injuries. And road traffic injuries are not only about death, it's also about disability and injury, which is much more common than this. And then with also growing population, and elderly are growing. So if now we're between 6 to 7% on average around the region, we are going to be doubling very soon.
Okay.
To reach 14%. So we have to keep this in mind when we're doing our policies, because like Dr. Sana Hafiz just mentioned, she said her main issue was access. It's not to find the technology, but also to have access to in everywhere she goes, in the banks, in the parks, and so on. So we should not be waiting for the actual data. We have an estimate, we have rough estimates, and we have global figures, and in between that we have to build our policies now to respond to this. Meanwhile, we have to look at the data, and we have to make sure that we advocate, and this through people like you in the media, and through more work that we really have to do to have this as part of the national data in all the countries.
Exactly, that's great. But now the next thing which I want to lead on to, I think, involves Dr. Ibrahim as well, Dr. Sana, and Dr. Mariam, you, Maha, and me. So now, for example, what happens is, Dr. Sana, if you can relate to that, please do let us know. So we are talking about access to assistive technology. Now what happens is that me in my normal life, I'm an entrepreneur as well. I work with different things. I find it a great business opportunity to invest in assistive technology. But unfortunately, this is how we work over here. We have to say it, we have to do justice with our jobs too. Once the technology is going to, if we are going to get an access to such technology, it'll be too expensive to actually bear the expense. So how do you think that we're going to come around a way where we have the access and it's for everybody? It's not just for all those people who are rich, who are businessmen, or who can actually afford health services. So how are we going to go about that?
Yep, Dr. Ibrahim.
Yeah, actually, this is a good question. First of all, we must have an infrastructure just all disabled people or all people can go and register themselves, and that's what we have in Iraq. The official place for disabled people is the rehab centers, and this is distributed in every governor. There should be a center.
Yeah.
Actually, the registration is either by disabled people attend this place or by CPR program, and they seek for disabled people, especially those who are in rural area or poor. Second thing, when we eliminate the information about the disability and should be done medically by medical committee, then we can seek for the types of assistive device that they need.
Yeah.
First of all, we must have a nearby lists plus the actual need and the accurate numbers of people which they need which assistive device, and we can reach to the estimate cost, because the government should cost all the, it should be free of charge.
Yeah.
Because it is cost from few dollars to thousands of dollars when we talk about powered electrical wheelchair or those who need prostheses above knee, amputees and something like that. So it should be focusing on the free of charge, should be diagnosed the disabled people, the real needs of assistive device, and should be covered by the government represented by Minister of Health.
Okay,
Exactly.
Dr.
That's
Sana?
one solution.
Oh, sorry.
Dr. Murray.
Yeah, I think you touched upon a very important point. The cost of assistive products, mostly they're very expensive. The reason is that there is monopoly of the manufacturers because there is no bulk purchase. Very limited numbers are available, so they can quote any price, whatever they want. So few things which Government of Pakistan has, the initiatives taken by Government of Pakistan is that, one, they have included it into the Prime Minister National Health Insurance Program. Government of Punjab has added it into their social protection scheme. So these kind of, and once they are added, demand would be increased, need would be increased, more purchases. Government are going to develop their own national procurement systems, So once these systems are in place, definitely when there is demand is going to increase, the price is going to go down. So this kind of a monopoly, it needs to be like,
I think when the
Managed from
demand
beforehand.
increases, the prices go up too as well. But
Just before we went to Dr. Sana, Dr. Sana, you wanted to add to this as well?
It again comes to the point that first of all, people need to know about the assistive products.
Okay.
If people living in rural areas do not know what an assistive product is, then there is no point of these
okay,
kind
so it's not really like that. It is, everybody knows about a remote control wheelchair too as well. Everybody knows, there's
So everyone in
spoons
the village would know that?
Yeah, obviously, because, people who are living with disabilities know where they have problem in their lives and they want a solution for that. So they kind of have a hint to that. And we need to promote it in more of a cultural languages too as well, on different TV channels, print media and all of these things.
Okay,
Media
but
has
before
to
we
play an
move on,
important role.
because after Sana, Dr. Sun wants to add, yes.
The media has to play a very important role
Yes.
in this, and we also need to work with the local bodies in the rural areas like the union councils, and we have to work with them so that those living in the rural areas get to know that assistive products are available
Yes.
and at an affordable, high quality of assistive products.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is the main thing.
Great, Dr. Sun.
Miriam was saying that today 1 in 10 that needs assistive products are getting them.
Okay.
That is 10%. 90% aren't getting what they need.
Yeah.
So there is a 90% potential for producers to produce assistive products.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if the volume increase, the prices will come down.
Hopefully
Exactly.
in theory, Dr. Murray. Sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
You just mentioned, that people know about, that
I
assistive
mean, they might
products.
not know it as assistive
I-
product,
I-
but
I
they know
really
that
want-
this is useful.
They need something.
Yeah, I really want to stress on this.
Sure.
People don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even if you go the social protection schemes, there are few assistive products which are being provided. Wheelchairs, again, I've mentioned, white canes, hearing aids, and that's it. This list, assistive product list, it is also there to create an awareness that how many assistive products are available.
I mean, there are even glasses for
Because when
colorblind
this
people.
list was launched, people were surprised. Really, I mean, there are around so many assistive products which are available, and we do not have an awareness about it. So this kind of a thing which Sana has mentioned, to create an awareness that for this kind of an impairment, these kind of assistive products are available, which can actually bring a change into their lives.
That's done, and we agree to that this is something we need to do. Now, before that, very sorry for that. What I'm trying to convey over here is that don't you think that within these conferences, we actually need to have the importers on the table, the exporters, all of this,
All the
all of
stakeholders
the
part of
players,
it.
all the stakeholders, they need to be on board with that.
Okay. Again, I think you have touched a very important
Thank you, man.
point.
I've been touching
Yeah,
it.
exactly. The thing is that this regional framework is being developed by the experts. There are accommodations, there are persons with disabilities, service providers. So once we have this draft regional framework, then every country is going to develop policies in their own context. And then they can bring down, all the stakeholders at a table.
Okay.
They can have a discourse and deliberation, and then they can decide,
That's
what a
brilliant.
country needs.
That's brilliant.
Right.
So that is one thing which we are saying, that this priority assistive product list, we are giving it to the countries so that they can develop their own list according to their context.
You can't spoon feed everyone everything. People need to do things themselves as well. So, Dr. Sun.
I think it's very important that the assistive products are made affordable for everyone. Having said that, to provide assistive products, that's profitable in any case, because most often the alternative costs are much higher.
Okay.
So that's also important.
Okay,
Wait, Dr. Maha wanted to add, did you?
Do you want to add something?
If you,
Yes, no, you have. You
No,
can
I
add,
just
please.
also want to touch on the point that you mentioned, entrepreneurship, and you mentioned earlier about partnership and about the countries working
Yes.
together. And this is, Dr. Mariam mentioned about the monopoly. We do not have in the region people who produce, or factories or industry that produces this. You're absolutely right, Maha, that we have to bring all the stakeholders together. Once the framework is ready, I think countries, it's an obligation, and I think I take this obligation as WHO. We will have to convene
Yes.
also these stakeholders, because they will not know about it as well.
Yeah.
And the opportunities for entrepreneurship and for us in the region to produce and help each other is really a very important one in order to reduce the price. After that will follow. Once we have the products, or at least the prospect of having the products, then we can increase demand, as you said, because the demand is definitely there.
So how do you think that the World Health Organization is actually going to direct to all the ministries of health in any other country and tell them that, till the grassroots level, these are the things which need to be marketed and people should know about them?
Okay, definitely, it's not only ministries of health.
Yeah.
You look at the problem as a whole. It's a national problem. It involves ministries of health, ministries of social affairs. It involves the community. It involves the industry. So I think the role of the World Health Organization is to advocate for assistive technology to be part of the policies in different ministries and different industries, in order to be able to have adequate supplies to cover the whole population. I think this is the way to go.
Wonderful. And actually, because we are heading towards the end of the show, I wanted to, we kind of skipped over this part, but Dr. Sana, you're playing a very important role. You have been also, I want to get it right.
First global champion.
Yeah, first global champion for assistive technology. What are your plans now? Because you've talked about the inclusivity, you're talking about the awareness campaigns, making sure people are educated. How are we going to achieve this within Pakistan? Because as Dr. Mariam also pointed out, that we have this really bad misconception that people know. If they're suffering, they know, and they don't know. So how do we get them to know?
Again, I would say that we have to first create awareness at different levels.
Right.
Starting from the individual level.
No, but that's fine. But how are we going to do that? How do you plan to do it as a global champion now?
Now I have to work with
Yes.
The different sectors working, health sector, the educational sectors, working along with the government of Pakistan
Okay.
under the influence of the World Health Organization. The different bodies that are working, we have to align with them and work along with them to create an accessible environment and to provide high quality assistive products which are affordable and and to create awareness regarding these issues.
And are you ready for the challenge?
Yeah, she is.
It's going to
It
be
is
a tough
a
She's the
one.
first
huge
ever global
responsibility,
champion.
but yes, we are, if working with everybody, yes, of course, I will try to do my
Amazing.
best.
Wonderful. That's
And
great.
thank you very much for joining us. It
Thank
was lovely
you so
to have
much
you.
for being here today.
And it is definitely a moment of pride, you know, to have hosted first such kind regional conference as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, at PETV World, our job prominently is to let the world know what we are doing, what the country is doing, because we go out in 60 different countries. But if for all those people who are out there, who are the decision makers, who are the policy makers, I think all of these people actually need to be on our provincial TV channels as well, because we have got every channel in every other language, so that the word can actually go out, local newspapers, local radio stations, and that's how we're going to build a market for that.
Absolutely. And apart from the market, it's about the social cohesion and inclusivity of every citizen within the country and also in every other country, so that we all actually finally become global citizens. This term we've been using for ages but actually don't practice. So if you would like any information about anything that we have discussed on assisted technologies or any of the topics we've highlighted, log on to our Facebook fan
This is
page,
with the name of World This Morning.
our Twitter page,
World This Morning without a G.
our Daily Motion and YouTube page.
World This Morning, World This Morning.
And the repeat is at
11 p.m.
Have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Be good, be safe, and we'll see you bright and early on Monday morning.
United we stand, divided we fall. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.